Good morning. Today is the 17th of December, and we're kind of doing a follow-up to where we were last week. And as you can see, a little whiter than last time. So we are going to do some tracking today because we have the environment to do it. And kind of headed out here today because it was like a little bit less snowy, more rainy all day south of here. So I wasn't really sure how much snow we were going to have. Up here it looks like they got 2 to 3 inches, so I mean that's good for tracking, and that's what we'll do. And as far as finding your way back out again, you can just follow your own tracks, which is an added luxury for the day. You also get a little bit more stealth because you're not crunching in the crunch. It's more like, you know, through the snow, but a lot of that dampens the sound. So we are gonna kind of do a semi-repeat of the area we did, but it looks completely different today for the obvious reasons you have snow on the ground. We're going to get going. We're not going to blab too long. Let's go out, do some tracking, and see what, if anything, we find. So come along and let's see what we do. Bye. Okay, we're back, and I was going to go back over into that stuff and do some tracking. So far, what you see is a lot of these little things that are, because it's warming up a little bit right now, the temperatures north of freezing, so a lot of the snow is going to come falling out of the trees and make these little impact signatures in the snow. So that's not tracks, so I'll have to be cognizant of that. But I also heard a large discharge of a shotgun over the hillside too. So I have Hunter's Orange on. I don't normally give a selfie, but here you go. I have Hunter's Orange on, but I am going to have to be careful because I know that there are at least 2 hunters were leaving as I came in, and there's another, at least I saw one heading in to the west of here, and there's another one apparently over in the stuff over there somewhere. So I'm not alone out here, so that's something to bear in mind too. Here's a quick pan of a scenic beaver pond while we're there. I will not be flying the drone today, one, because I didn't, when I planned on coming out, I was more tuned into the tracking factor. But the wind today is proving to be probably somewhere north of, it's like averaging 20 miles an hour or more, so not conducive to safe droning. And you also have a guy over there that could easily shoot the drone, which I'm not going to really be happy about. I'd rather avoid that. So that's in the mix. I was contacted by a guy who apparently is doing research in more or less the same region. It doesn't sound like the same neighborhood we're in, but there was a guy who joined my my New Hampshire group, but he claims he's in the greater Connecticut, Mass area too. So we have that in common. If you see this video and you want to reach out, and maybe this weekend I'll reach out myself and try to talk to you on Facebook, since we're both there, and we could try to see if it's a compatible meetup or something. I don't know what the guy shot at. So far, I've covered a couple 100 yards in, and I have not seen butt kiss for tracks so far. But I'm going to probably do this in choppy segments only because I'm kind of focused on that too. So last week it was kind of a focus on secondary cameras. I am pleased with how the police harness thing has stabilized the police cam. The difference is that, again, this one you can do, just to make a point, you have more of a, you know, a automatic function of swivel, and this one has zoom in, zoom out capabilities. So it is the higher functioning camera. The other one, on the other hand, has longer battery life and a night vision capacity. So like with all things, it's kind of more of a let each camera kind of play to its strengths. The other one's got longevity and night vision, and then the other one is kind of a pseudo gimbal, like a 2-axis. Of course, this is 3-axis. The other one's a two gimbal axis that's like head mountable. And that one has that as a kind of a, hold on. The one guy that's out here is like head to toe bright ass orange, so he wouldn't be hard to see. I don't know. I haven't had visual with the other guy. But I'm wondering, because last week I found a deer stand over there on the other side of the pond. Fairly well concealed, but the shot kind of came from over there. So I wonder if our guy is back in there and setting up shop. So I'll try to avoid that area, if that is in fact the case. So that being said, I am going to kind of move over into this stuff, and I'm going to take a segment break. More for the point of covering some ground than really any other. And we're going to, if we come back, I may be on the body cam just because it'll save battery on this one. And the other one has battery to burn, but it also gives me a chance to kind of practice, because the difference, again, this one you can pan. The other one you kind of have to use your body to pan, but different cameras, different capabilities, like I said. Each has their specialty. On that note, we'll come back in a bit. I'm going to kind of pick my brain, see if there's anything interesting in the community other than the neighboring researcher we apparently have. There's another guy around here too, so I'm going to actually hit him up and see if he knows the other guy too. And we could maybe see if there's a compatible trio, and we could maybe get, God forbid, Nezen to have a focal point of multiple people in southern New England. That would not hurt my feelings, because I do think certain neighboring groups need to have a counterweight given some of their practices. But I'm not going to do that without first reaching out and kind of getting a vetting / feeling out of these other two. Well, the one guy I know pretty well. The other guy just like wanted to join the other day, so I'll reach out to him and see if I feel like there's some compatibility for interaction there. But he is close by, so there is that. So we'll try that. I'm going to take a break at this point, though, and we will be back in a bit, so stay tuned. Thanks.
All right, we're recording on camera number 2. For the sake of my own video editing later, this is going to be considered segment number 3 if I lose track of the order in which cameras I use. We're on the police cam now, just for simplicity. We are back in this area, probably a couple hundred yards from where we last were. Rather than too much, I'm going to try to make a coherent point in my head that we were on the phone briefly, took a stop to find the gentleman from yesterday who reached out. It turns out he is a group too, so I joined his group in order to check that out, kind of see what he's about. And then again, like I said, I know another guy in this greater neighborhood too who's recovering from some kind of a eye surgery, I think. But I'm curious if these two guys are compatible, if we can kind of form the nucleus of a southern New England oriented, at least networking situation where we collaborate. Because I'm not of the opinion that this needs to be a competition. I just don't see it as that. Because people all over the country have been looking for decades for signs of this creature, and no one's pulled one out of the woods yet. So where is the competition? Stream is over there. The front of the wetlands is right there, because if you look up there, I have to bend with the camera. You can see the opening there. This is all white. That's all white, so it's kind of obscured. You kind of have to have a sense of distance now. That's okay. So my thought I'm suspecting I'm gonna find this guy is more of the Reinhardt mindset, which is fine, because my thought is, you guys play to your strengths, I play to my strengths. I'm kind of more of a hunter-tracker styled researcher. I go out and look off-grid, but I cover ground, as my videos would suggest, and I'm looking around in a greater area, a greater interregional area too, by the way. As you all know, I've done time, and this is not a brag, this is just kind of putting it out there. I have had efforts in, not recently in Jersey, but I've been to the Jersey Pine Barrens. I've been in New York, in areas where you have known Bigfoot activity, in two areas, mind you. One a little bit south of the other area, and then the greater area, and I know of another area where a friend of mine has reported activity, and I am prepared to check that out as well. That would give access to private land, too. I've also been in Mass, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Vermont, and New Hampshire. I haven't been to Maine yet, but I do have an invite from the Merchants. I know that Mr. Merchant's a little bit, I think he was taken aback when I never got around to that, but at the time, the timing for getting over there just wasn't there. And with the current state of health of my vehicle, I probably couldn't do that or commit to it unless I had a chance to trade up and get something more long-term, I'll use that word. So I'm looking for a jumpable spot here where I'm not going to get my feet wet, because it is in the 30s, and wet feet in the 30s is cold. So I'm gonna try my luck further over here. What else? But my thought is, if they have their methodology and I have mine, as long as you can adopt a mutual live and let live, I'm going to use the word an interdisciplinary approach to field research. And again, not a competition, because either side can make a case for their methods based on the merits of their results. And not throwing that out there as a derision of their methods versus mine, or mine versus theirs. If you have people trying different things, then you have clumpy snow on that. I'm hoping that's a rock, because then I can do an easy jump over here. But if I'm not, I'm about to have a wet foot and not be happy about it. Survey says it's a rock. So if I don't slip and F this up, which I didn't, then I'm okay. And I just go up this hill here and get into snow. And although I don't see any obvious tracks, there is pee, so something did make a marked spot. I'm going to say that is quite possibly that of a bobcat, because they're known for doing that and make an effort not to step in his little tracking. But now I'm looking for feline looking tracks, and I'm not finding any. Alright, the other thing, again, I mentioned earlier, is that there is probably a hunter over the hill somewhere in the vicinity, so I have to keep an eye out for that. So I'm going to go a little ways in here. There's some more semi-yellow snow, so something was spraying through here, went in through this way. So I'm going to make observations like that as I go along in here. But I'm again going to make several segment breaks through here as I focus on my surroundings, because somebody did fire a shotgun off in here. So I am not alone, and I have to be cognizant of that. But yeah, so I have forming in my head this morning the thoughts of a potential interdisciplinary research team down here for the winter anyway, should they be open to hearing about this after a slight vetting process through the holidays, because people are going to probably focus more on Christmas, New Year's in the next 2 weeks. I'm actually walking off the after effects of 2 Christmas parties this week. Yesterday, my work and my apartment complex both had their Christmas parties on the same day, so my diet kind of took a major hit yesterday. So today I'm not going to really go out of my way to binge on anything. I'm good. But my goal for today was, I do see tracks up here. What are we doing? They look like people, though. They are people. So what I already know from today, there were two guys who came in. So I am out here with somebody potentially, and I did hear their gun. So maybe they came through before I got here. Or it was the two gentlemen that were leaving as I came in. In fact, I think it's two gents that were coming in because that guy's boot patterns. Here's your tracker mentality here. The boot patterns of the one guy with the beard. The balder two gentlemen with the beard was the guy who had those boots, I think. So they came through here. Okay. Which, if I got turned around, I don't foresee, but if I did, I have another set of tracks I can follow back. Because they basically parked at the same spot I did. So that's also good to know. And they were heading out from this direction. They came from over there and they're going that way. Yeah, so I guess we're doing a tracking video. I already said that to some degree, though. Beyond that, I have kind of, seems like the drama, and this is kind of a winter Bigfoot community kind of thing, it seems that drama's coming from the podcasts. And I would liken that probably in a more cynical sense of people kind of generating drama for clickbait kind of reasons, for competition of limited new information during the course of the winter. That's kind of my cynical take on that. Again, I'm not really I've done one single podcast in my existence in this, and it was, here's another set of tracks. Same guy though, they came through here. Same boot pattern, so I am kind of following in their footsteps. That's okay, they've left. So and the reason I know it was them is there was actually two sets of tracks, which means it was the two guys. The other guy, I saw one other guy, he was there by himself, and I think he's further to the west. Unless he made his way over here, which would be a decent amount of ground to cover. Dude in the blue. So if he does end up shooting me accidentally, guy in all bright orange camo in the blue minivan. I know if somebody found my recording later, they'd have me identifying my potential killer. Just putting that out there. Not that I would. I think I said this last week. I've never had an occasion where I've come up on a hunter where you had such a trigger-happy idiot they drew a bead on me. Because, I mean, I'm in bright orange. You're looking before you take your shot or you're not. And if you're not, you're at fault. And then if I die, it's probably manslaughter. And if you wing me, you're still up for assault with a deadly weapon. Either way, you're going to prison. Because Connecticut is not the most gun-friendly state. And if you get across the line into Massachusetts, even more so. Well, I think I'm going to head off in this direction, paralleling the tree line with the wetland. And I'm going to take a break segment-wise, though. So, pardon my fumbling. Alright, so we're back. We are behind the wetland we were approaching before. I'm kind of past where the hunters went. We're going to try to go down and see if we can look out into this. And they're really crappily defined, but with the spray around, I do think I am inadvertently tracking a bobcat. Or at least his wanderings. There is some spray right there. I think those are the tracks, but like I said, with the wet snow, it's not really well defined. Not a very big one either from the size of the tracks, but kind of have to be careful here too, because it's getting warmer, so the snow is getting more slushy like, so I'm encountering some slippery factor, you know. I'm hoping I can get like over there, at least have a look out on the back side of the wetland, because along the side that you would approach it from, getting through there is kind of a bitch, if I'm being honest. If I can get out here, maybe I can have a look at a better angle of approach, something I haven't found prior to now. But of course I want to record while I do that. Again, I didn't have an occasion to wipe off the lens of the camera, so it's wet out now. I don't know how much wetness related distortion you're experiencing, but I'll apologize in advance if there is any. So I can at least get out to the edge and have a look here. This seems to open up a little more. So kind of sneak out through here, and hopefully this isn't wet, and it doesn't seem to be. So yeah, I can kind of get out to the, at least the edge of this. That looks like it gets wet very quickly. Unlike last week, my gimbal camera is in my vest pocket, so I'm not going to drop it. Yeah, this gets wet, but at least I can get a decent photo op from here. So let's do that. And you get this nice dramatic semi-cloud cover going, so I can kind of work over here and do a couple of shots to kind of get a decent look out here. The other reason I'm not going to drone today too is, I mean, it's just too damn wet. Drones do not like moisture, so conditions subpar. C'est la vie. As my second cup of coffee for the day kind of sounds off. Anyway, yeah, the segments of the camera with this, because I'm not really on and off with the gimbal one, are a little bit more rambly, but a little bit more behind the scenes of what's actually going on too. So again, we're doing more track. We did find bobcat tracks, which is more than I expected, but they're like way the hell back in here. I'm surprised I didn't see at least like deer tracks though. But trying to change my angle without wetting my feet and get a little of that. Yeah, getting in here in this time of year, you can't see what's wet and what's not, so easier said than done, unfortunately. So we're gonna turn off the phone, because I noticed that when I have it on for like 5 minutes, you lose like 6% of the battery given the temperature, which is, yeah, cold and batteries don't like each other much, so you kind of change your strategy a little bit. Where can I see if I can get over there so we can peek out of that angle? I'm not yet satisfied with my look. You can kind of get up. If this isn't all wet and it doesn't seem to be something. Those aren't tracks. I don't know if they are or not. Anyway, these are down there. There's like no supporting tracks over here though, so it might just be an indent. I just want to look out, see if I can peek through out here and get a. Because the thing is, the way this thing runs, it's like long that way. Sorry, long that way. And can I get through this without getting soaked? Ain't looking like it. So let me try to force my way through. And yes. So this, and much to my suspicion, every bit of this is swampy, wet, and unpleasant. Bear with me one second. I'm going to, hopefully it doesn't blur the camera too much. And the fun is that if you go behind this, the terrain is all thick underbrushy crap, and it's not really easy going. So I'm gonna limit my excursion more than I had planned to, mainly just because the snow is getting very wet, and that means feet get wet. And as waterproof as your boots are, they're waterproof like generally to ankle length. And then like when it's slushy out, slush just has a gift for sucking its way through any boot-related fabric, Gore-Tex or whatever, and getting you soaked. And cold feet in 30 degree, let alone colder, it sucks. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. So we're going to get a couple of shots of this, and then we're going to start backtracking our way to the we're going to kind of parallel along the stream on the backside of the wetland system and see what we can find. But let's get a couple of shots of this lovely wetland. There's another one further out, but again, with the wetness factor today, we're good. We're gonna make our way back, because if you go through that, your feet are going to get soaked right straight away. There's no I gotta make my way through this again. So again, if the camera gets wet, I apologize, but you kind of have to, you hear the snapping. I'm going like against the grain of this stuff now, so ow, got poked up a little bit. But if you look hard enough, there are a couple of little peephole sized entry points to this long, very soggy, unpleasant wetland. Probably an awesome spot in certain times of the year for duck hunting if you're into that. Just a thought, but fishing probably not that much, as this charming branch just grabbed my hat clean off my head. And for that, sir, you are a bastard. I will say permission to repeat that is denied. And we're going back up and out through this. And then we're going to be a cheat, and we're going to hook up with the hunter's footprints and follow our way back out. I am going to take a segment break now too, though, because this is kind of slick and I want to focus on my footing more so than camera work for a minute. Okay. For the record, if there's more head jerkiness to this, we're on the head mountable double access gimbal camera now. Again, we're trying to just get more of a feel for each one in the field. What we're doing right now, we are doing as we suggested. We are following our tracks back out, kind of backtracking our way out, which is a foolproof way to get back. And in the showing of gross overkill, I also have my Zoleo on, so if I were to get turned around, I have a satellite communicator going, but I do know this area fairly well enough that, and given the snow factor, you can literally backtrack your way out. What's really proving to be unpleasant right now, even though it's probably mid-30s and not that cold, the rising above freezing has made the snow very wet and slushy, and so my feet are soaked. And not a big deal now, but if you were going to be out here like all day and stay out here with cold feet later on tonight, if you're like, say you were camping out or something, you're going to have frozen feet. Think like frostbite. So there comes a point in time when you know your limits and you get out before that situation avails itself on you. So we had some tracking fun today. I guess this is kind of going to be like my long-winded rambling outro. And again, so what we accomplished in summary, we briefly tracked the bobcat, although the tracks were like crappily identified, but the spraying habits would indicate that that's what we're dealing with. Never saw him, but I've seen signs of bobcat out here forever. I've never actually seen the culprit because kitties are sneaky. It is the nature of things. We briefly got into that one wetland on the backside where there's a couple of peephole size points of entry, and it is kind of long and sort of Vermont shaped, but you walk up to the water line and you're instantly into wet, cold unpleasantness, especially this time of year. So yeah, we're okay with that. We don't need to go wading. But also, as stated, probably an awesome duck hunting spot certain times of year. I haven't heard our hunter buddy across the way over there before. Oh, the other thing I found that other people might not be that proud or happy about, the two guys I was parallel tracking before, no offense, gentlemen, but I found your little hunter's nest, and I walked by. I did not record it, out of respect for your privacy out here and doing what you do. I didn't record it, and it is fairly well concealed. I'll give you credit, because I did almost walk right by it. But like a little homemade hunter's blind situation, but I did. Everybody freeze. What was that? I just heard a sizable wood snap of some kind. Bear with me. And if there is something out here with me, I am recording. And if I heard it correctly, it's in the direction I'm heading in. So, interesting. If I'm guessing, over that way. Could be naturally occurring, maybe not. But we're going to get a little bit more quiet. These things usually have a way of panning out to be a big nothing, but you always have that one time when it's not. So the other thing too is, like I said, there's multiple hunters out here, so might be them, might not be. I did have a time last year, I thought late November, but I thought I was in here with something upright but not human, so there is potential for activity in this area. Decent enough cover to get you close to them. Habitats here anyway. I do hear gunfire in the very far distance, but whatever it was closer than this. So we're going to stay on guard for a bit. Shit, twice. My hands are starting to get cold too. It's actually kind of funny to me. I'm trying to be sneaky right now because, again, I got Hunter's Orange on, so if there's anything stealthily watching me right now, I stick out like a sore thumb. So it's kind of funny I'm doing this. Just a quick comment. But what are you going to do? It is looking like probably just a branch snap of some kind. It is fairly windy this morning, but we're going to maintain our more quiet approach as best we can anyway. I think in the last few minutes got notably colder again. That is a stump. There's my tracks. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards snapping a branch. Just for historical record, though, I had a time in Vermont when I heard a cracking and a snapping, and then that was followed by a couple of huffs and a grunt, and one of them actually popped up and ran off. Again, I thought I had word of or sounds of one of them following me over the backside of the pond over there, I want to say 2 years ago. So this area is not completely devoid of potential past activity. I'm actually kind of cheating to get, because what's happening, like I said, the sun's gone down, it's getting colder, and my feet are starting to feel the wetness. So before it becomes an issue, it's a day to find your limitations. So do a final pan. There's a tree break right there if you don't see it. And what I'm going to ask that you do, kind of like last week, I'm going to do my outro here. So like, subscribe, hit the bell button, all that loveliness. Leave comments if you have any to share, and we're going to call this one here. And I'm going to say that here because what's to follow, again, because I have a head-mounted camera, is you're going to see the fumbling of me turning the thing off, and I'm going to edit that part out. So best I stop talking here and that part's still there. So that's how I'm going to do that. And that'll be our little outgoing thing, well, if I end up using this one for the outro. So we'll see you next time, and thanks for tuning in, and share, comment, like, and all that, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching, and that's about it. Have a great holiday, and Merry Christmas if I don't make another video before that, and Happy New Year and all that. We'll see ya. Bye.